Welcome to Bucs Bounty with my man Jordy Mercer. How are you doing, big dog? I love that hat. Mike Berger, a friend of mine, works for the Brewers. His grandpa made that logo. You got to,
No
do you know
way.
Berger?
I
You
don't.
got to meet
That is
Berger.
awesome.
When you
Let's
come in,
go.
we're gonna have about 7 hours of ball talk with that man. One of the smartest baseball minds you'll meet. But Jordy, how are you? You're in your sick office, one of the best man caves out there. Talk to me.
I am doing great. The snow's gone. Now, you guys are probably getting the snow now, but snow's gone
Oh, don't
now.
talk about
Sun's
it.
out. It's beautiful outside. It's getting baseball season. I mean, what a time of year. I mean, let's go. I'm pumped.
Do you feel like you're being watched right now by maybe a giant fathead?
Yeah.
Look at that thing back there. That's outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got that wicked
So,
smile. Like,
So the funny story behind that is when my aunt came to watch me play, she made a bunch of fatheads to put in the stand, and kind of
oh,
wave
what
them
an
out.
ant.
Well, look who gets to keep one is me. So, I got the man cave here and a lot of baseball memorabilia around me. So let's just slap it on a door and call it good. So that's what I did.
I absolutely love it. And two, you always got somebody on your back. Always watch
There
your
you
back,
go.
right?
There you go.
That's what
Never
it's all
know. You
about.
never know who's
Yeah.
going to be in here. Could have cameras in there. Or something. You never know. So.
All right. So let's talk about the guy. He just passed away, Bill Mazeroski. We both got to meet him in spring training. Jordy, this guy was incredible. He's an incredible human being. Loved the game. He turned the most double plays all time. You being a shortstop, middle infielder, having incredible relationships with your co-partner when it comes to that middle field work. Just speak a little bit about that position, what it's like to have a guy that you can trust almost to throw the ball anywhere, but knowing that he's always going to be in the right position, but expect maybe even the bad throw because Maz was a wizard at his time and it was a defensive era, but this guy did a lot for the game. We'll get into a little bit of what he's done, but just talk a little bit about Maz, maybe a story that you have from spring training and how important what he did over his career. Because this guy didn't just get thrown in the Hall of Fame. He failed 10 times, right?
Yeah.
And it took over
Yeah.
30 years to get this guy in, which is remarkable. But just talk about that's the old school baseball we love.
Well, okay. So when I went back and actually watched his Hall of Fame speech, and they showed it a couple times, throughout
Yeah.
the MLB Network and something like that. Dude, okay, so defensive guys need a place in the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, how cool was that
100%.
he said that? That was so cool.
Right.
And, 260 career hitter, obviously not fantastic, but not bad either, right? But probably one of the
But
greatest.
that was the era, right?
Yeah. And
I
one of
mean,
the greatest
nobody was
all-time
raking then.
hits, one of the greatest all-time hits of all time. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
there's a bigger hit than you can possibly do, probably, right? If I'm guessing in the game of baseball, I mean,
No,
that
it's what
was
we all did in
amazing.
our backyard our entire childhood,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that you
Game
count
7.
down,
Here we go.
whatever it is, boom, boom, here it is, boom, walk off, he's running around. Oh, dude, it's amazing. They
Mm-hmm.
win the World Series. Yeah. But to me, Maz was all about the defensive side, and I love when going to spring training. I knew I was going to see him. That's the way it was. There was veterans there all the time, and that was one of the first guys I always walked up to because I want to see how he was doing, how his golf game was, just constantly talking about the upcoming season and man, it was so cool to just sit there and see. And before he couldn't get around as good as what he did, he would come out there I remember with Walk and I around the bag and just start doing double plays on the backfield. He would go out there with us and we would talk some things, especially Neil. Neil loved picking his brain because it's second base. And I love being around him because he was just it was a ball guy. Like he was a baseball dude. And now looking back and seeing some of the veterans talk about like what type of player he was and who the guy was, I was looking at his stats too. Dude, the dude played every single game almost. Like it was
Every day.
crazy. Every day for like 17
Every
years
day.
he played. I mean, I know there was some years here and there that he might have got hurt or whatever, but if he could play, he was in the lineup, and that was man. It's just that when I think of Bill Mazeroski, I think an all-time Pirate. First of all, I think a guy from Pennsylvania. That's through and through. He is wears a chip on his shoulder like that dude. Like he is a blue-collar baseball player, and not to mention he hit one of the greatest shots of all time too. So just I enjoyed our company. I don't necessarily have one particular story. Neil
Yeah.
said it best. Like, you walk in the clubhouse and he'd be sitting there with a stogie in his undies, him and Teak and all the guys. I mean, that happened on a regular basis.
And
So
Spanky.
that's
Yeah,
not,
no doubt.
you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's just the way it
Yeah.
was. You walked in and there they were. So,
Yeah.
and then he couldn't get around as good. So he started driving the golf cart around and doing some things like
Hmm.
that. But I just enjoyed being around him. I enjoyed our chats that we had every time. So, he'll be missed for sure in the pirate world, no doubt, and baseball world.
Yeah. What is Sandlot? Heroes get remembered. Legends never die. That guy's a legend.
That's the
And
truth.
Jordy, the coolest part for me is I didn't know anything about Pittsburgh when I came to the Pirates. I really didn't. I was like, all right, Steel City, a lot of bridges, like reading up on it. But when I went to spring training, I think it really hit me because I'm walking out first day at Pirate City and there's just a bunch of old dudes. And I didn't
Yeah.
know what to think, right? I didn't even know who they were because I didn't know a lot about Pirates history. But I'm walking out with this giant, lanky rubber band dude. I'm like, who are these people? And this little guy that's smaller than me that's just kind of waddling out. And I'm like, they're just talking about ball and telling stories. I'm like, who are these people? And I remember I went up to Neil or somebody. I was like, hey man, who are they? And they're like, that's Teak Colvey and that's Bill Mazeroski. And I'm like, okay, I know Teak from the post game show. Who's Bill Mazeroski? I felt like a moron, of course, but the reality of it is he told me, and I'm like, dude, being a guy that's 5'9", dude, I
Yeah.
started just walking around and listening to him. And when they're
Right.
smoking the stogies, I just listened to the stories. And dude, it was amazing because even today, we at fantasy camp, which you got to get to, some of these older guys stick around like they used to back in the day. They get a garbage pail full of sodas and a cigar, and they get after stories and they talk about
Yep.
all kinds of stuff. There's no better way to learn this game than to sit around, listen to older men talk about the game, and then also be willing to listen to what we've went through and what the game is now.
Yep.
It is some of my favorite moments in this game. I did it last night with a group of guys after coaching clinic. We stayed until 11 o'clock. It ended at 6.
Dude, let's
And
go.
we just talked about ball. We broke it down. It was incredible. And that's what it's all about. That's what I think about Bill Mazeroski and those guys. And Jordy, this guy, 2016 hits, 138 homers, 850 RBIs. You're right. 260 batting average, 10 gold gloves, 7 All-Stars, and 2 times World Series champs. My favorite thing is, do you know who else went in the Hall of Fame that year with him in 2001?
I don't think I do.
Cal Ripken Jr.,
No way. Let's go.
Kirby Puckett, Dave Winfield, Hilton Smith.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the coolest part is about Bill is he got voted in with that veteran committee,
Right.
which I had to read up on all this. I didn't really understand it. But that, for me, is saying the people that really make the decisions, that really know baseball,
right.
not the 400, 500 riders that are going off war and all these things
Yep.
that you couldn't really correlate then or even define then. These guys voted him in.
That's a great
It took
point.
a long
That is-
time.
that's a great
He was
point.
out, right? In the early 80s, he went through his 10 years and he came back 2001 and dropped the mic in that speech, Jordy. That's the coolest part because I think the game rewards the game if you allow it. I think so often nowadays we get in the way.
I agree. I mean, I totally agree. That what's so cool about, I mean, he's a 10-time All-Star, first of all. It's not like
10 times.
not like he was just some cupcake, you know what I mean, like playing baseball here. I mean, he's an 8-time
Probably
Gold
like
Glove
cupcake
winner.
stuff.
Like, come on, let's be real
Yeah.
here. Like, this guy was a dude. I mean, he was a legitimate.
Yeah.
I mean, he could hit. Don't get me wrong, he could hit, but he was a legitimate defensive-minded player. He was a wizard on the defensive side. He was.
Yeah.
And I
the
was
coolest-
you brought up a good point about going back and looking some of like just his statistics up, right? So one that I saw was in particular, and I'm I'm a big like old school everyday ground ball guy, make the play, right? He was a 983, I think, if I remember right, fielding percentage for his 17-year career.
Wow.
983. And not to
Yeah.
mention, they weren't playing on pristine fields like we are now.
Exactly.
Right?
Well said.
So,
exactly.
I mean, you talk about a dude that turned double plays, that dude that made the routine play. If he got a glove on it, you're out, basically. And that goes a long way in the game. It does. And people can talk about range factor. You can talk about all this stuff now, right? You can do all this stuff. But when the ball's hit to you, it better be an out. And it was every time for him. And that's what I love. And then we talk about the video. I got 12 pages here that I'm going to read through. And all of a sudden he's like, screw it. I don't need those 12 pages. That's the type of guy Maz is, though. That's him. That's who he is. And so I love that about him. Yeah.
You're exactly right. And so many great memories. He'll live on forever, and he'll be a part of Bucco's history, let alone baseball history for life. Jordy, we're 2 weeks into spring. We have a completely new look when it comes to this roster and who's on it. We kind of went through that over 12 and 13. And I don't think a lot of people understand the process, the timeline, kind of how spring training unfolds and what to look for. So if you don't mind, I'd love to walk through that with you. But like, they just went from Pirate City, and then pretty much the next day when they move over to LECOM, they start playing games. Jordy, we're the only team that I can find that still goes from the minor league, the 4-diamond set side to walking over. You were telling me off air that you didn't like it very much. I did think it was kind of neat the first time I did it, because it's like, once you go over to LECOM, it was McKenry then, it's like, it's game time. It's go time.
Yep.
And it's really that big league feel, but you don't forget the minor league feel either. So I kind of liked it the first time. The facilities are a lot better. But Jordy, you were telling me it kind of gave you a little bit of horror.
Well, when Pirate City got built, that's where the minor leaguers went. I mean, that's where you went for instructs. That's where you went for spring training. If you weren't on the big league side, you spent your majority of your time at Pirate City. That's just the way it was.
You even slept there, right?
I slept there a bunch. Correct. A bunch. Yes. So you're in these dorm rooms, and you got roommates and you got things like that. So yes, it's, I had probably a little bit different experience than you did, just going through the minor leagues and going through the system and having to spend a lot of, instructs there and, just whatnot there. But you're right. I mean, that transition is basically, it's time to, hey, it's time to pick it up. It's time to play games. This is now you feel, to me, I guess you feel more like a big leaguer, right? When you move to LECOM. Yeah. I think that was the biggest thing, is like and I understand the reason, because LECOM has no room. I get it. You can get way more done at Pirate City because there's more fields and things like that. But when you move over there, which is only, what is it? 8 miles, 5 miles, something like that.
10-minute drive.
Yeah. So, but it's a neat transition, because, like, hey, games are starting, like you said. It's time to get after it. Everybody's a little bit more confined. You get to know your teammates a little bit better, things like that. So, the transition was a little bit, different, just because you spent your majority of time at Pirate City, right? And at least I did. And then when I got to go over there, I was like, oh, this is what the big leagues is all about. Okay. All right. I love this. So yes, I mean, that was the definitive answer of, like, let's go play, and it's time to get after it. And then you just get used to it. After you've been there for a while, you get used to it. You're going to go to Pirate City first, and then you're going to transition over. So it's amazing how they do that, though, in one day. Like, it really is. Like, it's one day, last practice here at Pirate City, boom, next day, LECOM, here we go, pick it back up.
I didn't realize how crazy that was until after I got done playing. I went and I had something that night at LECOM. Me and Brownie were going to do a podcast, and I'm watching these guys just nonstop. It's like 10:30 at night. Me and Brownie are wrapping up, and I'm like, these guys are still going.
Yeah.
They literally had a game the next day, and they're still packing up the clubhouse. Those guys don't get enough love. Bulls, Bones, all the dudes that have, been there for us along the way. But something, Jordy, that I think about a lot because of that move is what Clemente always used to say. I never want to forget where I came from. So he would walk over every day to the minor league side and watch those guys play, because he's like, those dudes are trying to take my job. I think starting there gives you a foundation of where you came from. And that's the one thing I love about it, because I think it's very easy to get caught up in where you are so much in the moment that you don't kind of take a moment and step back and reflect. And that's what I wanted to go to next with, we're in the midst of spring training where a lot of young guys are going to get opportunities. Some of these guys are going to rake and not really have an opportunity because there's a plan, right? And I think it starts to unfold about a week in or so, because you'll start to see guys playing. We're going to see Tamar playing some third base. That there's a reason for that. We're going to see Nick Gonzalez play short and maybe move around a little bit. I thought it was cool that Nick York went right into second base, because like you're going to see some trends so they can see what can this guy do when we need him, or, hey, is this the guy that's going to fill out our roster? to kind of finalize what we need to create our identity or whatever. Jordy, talk about those stages in your career and going in as a rookie compared as a veteran, because it's so different. The at-bats are different. It's a lot
100%.
tougher because you're doing a lot more work, but you're traveling every day. But then as a veteran, you're kind of not really in a hurry to get ready, especially if you've gone through arbitration because you know you're on that team. Just talk a little bit about that for the fans, because like you don't want to get too excited. We're 3-0, right? We're hitting already. But that's the reality, because there's a lot of heaters right now, right? And the wind's blowing in and out. So kind of give them a perspective from your point of view, you know, how you went through it in those stages.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it too. Like when you're a rookie, you know, going in, you just want to soak up things. Like you don't want to necessarily put yourself out there right away. You're kind of just easing in the back of the lines, in the back of the cafeterias. You're sitting kind of over by yourself. Like there's a whole bunch of different things that you're just kind of working your way in, and you're trying to figure out, you know, the ins and outs of, you know, where to be, what time I need to be there, cage times, just how much work I need to put in. You're also watching everybody else. Like I think that was the big thing for me, is I was constantly watching, you know, I wasn't in big league spring training with like Jack Wilson, or, you know, when we got Bobby Crosby, we got some other guys that, you know, veteran guy infielders especially. But when I got a chance to go over there and play, which they bring a lot of minor leaguers over to play in those games, and I would watch them go about their business. Like how did they take pregame ground balls? Like what did they do in the cage? What was their routine like? There were so many things as a rookie that you try to figure out, how can I put in my game to help me succeed and be, you know, be where I need to be. Also, though, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you want to kind of show off. You want to show like you belong. I mean, you're there for a reason. They think you're a good player. I think that's rookies get a little bit over their heads, or a little bit maybe not as confident, because they're like, well, I'm just a rookie. You know, I'm not necessarily going to make the team. I'm just here. Well, there's a reason why you're there, though. There is, because they think you're a good player, you know, and I think that goes a long ways. And so, yes, I think the part of it, once you get a rookie, once you get your feet wet, once you get established, and then you go into that veteran role where, okay, now I have 30 days. This is how many at-bats I need. I mean, some guys were 40, some guys were 60, some guys were 80. It just all depends. You hardly ever go on the road much anymore if you're a true starter, right? You play almost all home games unless they're close. So there's a lot of different nuances that go about it from a veteran to a rookie. Rookie, you're on the road, you're going on bus trips. Better believe it, you're going, buddy. That's just the way it works, right? So it's fun to see, especially like you mentioned, camp today. There's a lot of young players, and there's a lot of bright young players too, which was what's awesome to see. And you nailed it too. Early on in spring training, they're going to get the majority of bats because they're going to get the most looks. I mean, that's the way it works. They're going to get the most looks. They're going to figure out what they can do and what they can't do. They're going to put them in different situations to succeed and fail, and see how they do, you know, see how they respond. And then as spring training goes on, basically what I like to do is I just like to look at the lineup. If you look at the lineup that particular day, and as the season or as spring training goes on, you're going to get a really good idea of kind of how it's going to turn out. And I'm anxious to see how we get in week 2 or 3, what lineups are starting to be put out, like where guys are starting to play. Is Konnor going to get a chance? You know, like that. There's just things like that I'm anxious to see as it goes on. But right now, I think you let him play. You figure out how it goes. Right now, just let him get some at-bats, and then we go from there.
He got him, and he's done it again.
Welcome to Unobstructed Views.
We're at BP. We're going to get an inside look.
Once you start loving each other, you start fighting for each other.
Welcome to Coach's Corner. And he'll admire it, and so will we.
Is that too much to ask for?
Oh, baby!
Before I get on to, because I want to talk about AJ and get into some of that veteran talk and how important it is to have people to mentor you, I want to go with Konnor, Griffin, and the young guys. So just this week, we saw Tamar hit a triple with 2 strikes. Konnor Griffin had an absolute great day yesterday.
Yep.
He hit the ball hard 3 different times, right? Could have easily had a home run. He beat
It
out
would have been
an
a
infield
homer.
single.
Yeah, it
but
would have been a homer. Yeah.
Yeah. Even the angle that it said, I believe it was 31 degrees, 397, 109 miles per hour. That's honest to God, or 106. That's honest to God, a home run in any ballpark without wind anywhere on the planet. But like, this guy's going to get a lot of opportunities because Nick Gonzalez, the penciled in shortstop who would start above him in the big leagues, is going off to play the World Baseball Classic. So those 2 weeks, so it's really important 2 weeks where he would normally get a lot of those reps. It's going to be Konnor. So he's going to have a chance to really shine. And I've said over and over again, if he plays enough, you can't hide him. And what he did yesterday kind of proved that. Even, being in the game, he's making the plays. And Jordy, that's what I really want to talk about with Konnor. But first, I got to say something about Valdez. Dude,
I knew you were going to bring it up. I knew it.
Dude, rakes. That Oppo homer line drive, low hands. Dude, it just looks like he's just chilling. Like, all right. Oh, you need me a homer? Whap! I'm like, oh my God, that's
first of all,
unbelievable.
You talk about being comfortable in the box. That's hard for a
dude.
rookie.
It looks like he's taking a nap.
Yes. You know this. It's hard to be comfortable in the box as a rookie and not face some of these pitchers that you haven't seen before, and to be able to go up there and having a bat like that, like, come on. Like, that's special.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been good to see these guys come out swinging and get their pitch, especially Endy hitting a home run on a breaking pitch. You haven't played in a year, and you get your first breaking pitch over the middle, and you absolutely tater it. But going back to Konnor, you're a shortstop. You're evaluating. This guy's 6'3". He's 228 to 30 pounds with no body fat. I mean, he's pretty much Troy Tulowitzki, but he runs like Mike Trout did in his prime, and he moves better than Bobby Witt at shortstop. So it's kind of silly when you think about it, right? Like, so everybody's on the hype train. I've said from the get-go, yes, should he make the team? Probably, because he's your best player outside of Cruz when it comes to freakish player. He can impact the game on any given day, but he is 19. So I think Jack Wilson used the thought process of the big Amish in Oakland, their first baseman, and how he had a great April, came up in May. He's rookie of the year. So there's different ways to go about this, but at the same time, I also want you to talk about what it's like to be a Nick Gonzalez. You're constantly being told this guy's better. It's this guy's job in the future. You got moved over from second base. You're low. So both ends of the spectrum, going back to that idea of everybody's got a different reality in this spring training, and you just really got to lock in on what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So let's start with Konnor. You're right. He's going to get a significant look in the next couple of weeks. There's no doubt about it. My thing is and you know me, I'm always thinking about what's going to happen down the road, or what's best for the team in the future. Okay. And we all know the Super 2 factor. We all know that if you hold them back a little bit, you get an extra year. Everybody knows that. Nobody talks about it, right? Well, I'm going to talk about it.
But you got to keep him down till June then.
I get it. I understand.
And if he wins Rookie of the Year, he loses a year anyways of free agency. Or
so my
a year of
thing
arbitration
is,
anyways.
I'm with you. And I'm on the bus of, I think he should make the team. That's what I am. Because you said it early in the show, is there's sneaky vibes of 2012, 2013 vibes. And you're on the cusp, right? But on the flip side of that too, I can see him not making the team, but also getting giving a jolt to the team, in the middle of the season too as well, which that's nice as well too. So I understand both sides of it. My thing is, let's not label him. Let's not figure out exactly who this guy is and what he's going to be the next. Let's just let him go play. Let him go play and let him tell us who he is. And I think that's the coolest part about it. It's like, there's not a lot of people that have seen him play. There hasn't been a lot of people seen him. There's been a lot of people, read about him, but there hasn't been a lot of people seen him play. And I think, like you said it best, let him go out there, let him play, let him figure out who he is, what he can do, what he can't do, because he can probably do everything, right? But just let him go play and understand the game and figure it out, and he is going to be a juggernaut. I saw Fangraphs the other day put a label on it. He was a grade 70. You know how good a grade 70 is? It's the best. 70 is one of the best, like perennial all-star 70. And you're putting that on a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, I watched him play when he was 17, and just the growth he's had and his ability to adjust quickly. I couldn't have I take a lot of pride in what I say, and I'll make bold predictions, and it'll seem bold, but like we've done a lot of research. Yeah, this guy's different, man. Like, and I do think he has to fail, but like most people don't realize, he failed and made the USA baseball team when I was there. Like, he failed because he didn't start in the infield. He played in the outfield, and he made it because of his defense and because he could run and because he could bunt, not because he could hit, because he couldn't hit velocity. But he had a presence about him, and people followed him because he was Captain America. So, like, he has all these intangibles that I'm like, yeah, failing isn't a problem because he wants to win. Because when he's failing, you're not going to know. He's not going to beat himself down. He's just going to put the gear to the grindstone every day. And that's what's crazy about it, is because, like, I thought it was a great pick when we took him, Jordy, but I could have never imagined, neither could Jack Wilson, who's the best evaluator of shortstops. I'd say you're probably the top 5 to 10 in the country as well. When you look at a guy and you're just able to say, yeah, that guy's got it. I listened to Jack say it's going to be tough for him to stay there. And dude went out and proved everybody wrong. He's like, no, I'm good at shortstop. I'm not just good. I'm the best. So it's crazy to me. That's the cool part about giving them opportunity. You're exactly right. It's just going to be a matter of like, okay, but now what about Nick Gonzalez? What about Triolo?
Yeah.
We've both been there, right? 13,
100%.
Russell Martin came in. He took my number. I didn't know about it. He came in and took my job. I didn't know about it. I'm on vacation. I just get a text that says a couple bad words from my agent. And I'm like, what happened? No idea. And that's the reality of the game. Was I mad? No, because we got better. What I was frustrated about was the communication. That's what I want to get to. How important right now is it to communicate to these guys? O'Hearn, he's playing right. Reynolds moves to left. Gonzalez is our starting shortstop now. Trill is our starting third baseman now. That guy was a 2-WAR player. Gonzalez has been a positive WAR player almost every year he's played. And these guys may be bench players before the season starts because they're still trying to trade. And that's a reality I don't think's talked about because it's a human element. And I think we can get into that's why AJ's important. That's why, O'Hearn saying this has a feel of the 2023 Orioles. All that comes from how is this being communicated right now. I think Donnie's the guy. I think this coaching staff's right. But Jordy, just talk about that and kind of how you've had it the good way and the bad way and how important it really is because it's the separator for me this year.
Yeah, I mean, the communication is it really is very important. The problem is, though, is I don't know if you're going to get a lot of communication from the organization right now, just because they're wanting.
What about the clubhouse though?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get some feel, you're gonna get some vibes. The thing with Nick Gonzalez is, here's my thing with Nick is he's been there, he's done it, he knows he can play in the big leagues, he knows he's a big league player.
No doubt.
And so I think that's what he's got to ride on. That's what he's got to understand is like, hey, I've done this before. I've been here. I've done it. I may not be as good as this kid, right? But I've done it before, and I can do it again, and I can just continue to get better because he's still roughly young. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of at-bats. He doesn't have, a ton of years.
He's still got an option.
So,
most people don't realize that. I hate to say that, but that could be a huge benefit, right?
It could be. So. It could be in the end. It could be in the end. But for I remember being in that shoe, or Nick Gonzalez's shoe, and all you got to do is just keep your head down and continue to play. I mean, that's the biggest thing is like you can't worry about the outside noise. You can't worry about what people are saying. You can't worry about, you got to keep everything confined inside. You got the guys in the clubhouse that's going to have your back. I mean, you play with them before. So it's a matter of just going out and doing it, a matter of going out and just playing level-headed and not worrying about going 0 for 4 or whatever, right? I think you just got to go play and understand that he's been there, he's done it, he's a big leaguer. And we talked about this too a ton, Mike, is not only are you playing for the Pirates, and this is weird to say that he's under control, but not only you're playing for the Pirates, you're playing for other 29 teams too. That's just the way it works, right? That's how it goes. Yep. Somebody's always watching you. And so he's just got to continue to go out and play and understand that he's done it before, and this kid is – he's up and coming, but he may not be ready yet.
And that leads me into the conversation about AJ Burnett coming in and Donnie bringing him in. There's not been any alumni outside of Jack Wilson went 1 year and kind of felt lost in what to do. They didn't even introduce him. It was really strange. I was there watching it kind of unfold, but it hadn't been important to the organization since, Sherrington and Shelton came in, that was kind of like, hey, let's get a feel. We'll figure it out. COVID happened. It kind of just went away.
Yep.
Talk about how important that is. Like, I think being around people that have been a part of the city's traditions, the winning, even in the smallest aspect, even if a Daniel McCutcheon came back because he was there for 2 years, Chris Reesop, I don't really care because there's nuggets that they can give that no one else can give because they were in the dirt, on the mound, or having an at bat in a significant moment, or just being at a blackout game, me hurt, doing the scouting report with the pitching before the game. That's something that a lot of people can't say. And I think there's so much value, and I hope they continue to build off of that and bring guys out throughout the year. Because, Jordy, I found out from looking as far as I could, we're the only organization that doesn't have a special assistant that is a player.
Yep.
Now we have Jamie Carroll as a special assistant to the infield. We have our boy Brano back, Jeff Branson, special assistant to the hitting. So you have guys that are older, they've been around, they really have nothing to prove, to come in and just give some solid advice, push back to the narrative a little bit and say, you know what, maybe that's a different way to look at it, but have you thought about this? Because that's so important, because you have to balance the old and new school, period.
Yeah. So it's funny that you brought up AJ. I was talking to him. We still talk a ton to this day. And,
yeah. He's
So
great.
I was texting back and forth and just telling him, his new tattoos and just shooting the stuff back and forth. Right. And so I thought it was a brilliant move to bring him in. And here's why. The pitching staff is on the verge of being the best pitching staff in baseball. And if not on the verge, they might be if everybody's healthy and everybody lines up, things like that, right? They have the pieces in place to be incredible staff. And if you go back and look at our teams that we had that made the playoffs that were really, really good, is our pitching. Our pitching was dominant. It was. And that's, to me, that's what wins you baseball games, especially in the postseason, especially in big-time games, is you got to have dudes on the bump that know what they're doing, that have that slow heartbeat, as Clint Hurdle would say, that's been there, done it, and understand, like, hey, I'm a dude, and get on my back and let's roll. And, man, Frankie was, AJ was, there was a ton of Garrett Cole, there's a ton of guys that we had that would give us a chance to win on a daily basis, and that's what this staff is. They're going to give the Buccos, the boys, a chance to win on an everyday, daily basis. And I think having a guy like AJ in there, knowing, hey, sometimes you're not going to have the best stuff, right? Sometimes you're not going to feel great. But you take the ball every 5 days and you try to figure out what you can have that day and make the most of it. And I think isn't that AJ's career and really in a definition is, man, he took the ball every 5 days and he figured out a way to give you a chance to win, even if he didn't have his best stuff, right? He might throw 1,700 sliders that day just because that's what he had. And it was a tough pitch to hit, but you knew you were going to get a chance to win. You knew you have a chance to win that particular game. And I think having him there, understanding that this staff is exceptional and has got a chance to be really, really, really good. And those young kids especially can lean on him and ask him questions. This dude's been around the block, man. It wasn't just a Pirate career, man. He's been around the block. He's played in New York. He's played in Toronto. He's played in these big cities that have had really good baseball teams. And the words of wisdom, his presence, I think that doesn't get talked about a lot, is when he walks in a room, and you know this, Mike, when he walks in a room, he changes the room. He changes the outlook of the clubhouse. He don't have to say stuff. He don't have to say anything, to be honest with you. He changes that mood. He changes the aspect. He changes the culture. He changes the camaraderie, like from an instant. And I think having guys like that around, winners around, says a lot about what the organization is trying to do. And it also tells a lot about where the organization thinks they're going to be coming up, not only this year, but maybe some years down the road.
Yeah, I'm going to give all credit to Donnie and the coaching staff on that one.
Yep.
Because they pushed hard for that to happen. And shout out to AJ right here. But the one thing, you're right, he has a presence, and he also looks like a Pirate with all the tattoos. He's kind of got that that gritty mentality that fits Pittsburgh. So bringing him in some of the favorite moments with AJ that I saw was when he went out and took the ball, and it's in the fourth inning. He's got 100 pitches. And he finds a way to get through 5. and 120 because we need him to figure that day out. That's honestly, and when you look at this team, Jordy, and we're going to go into this team could make a major jump this year from last year. On paper, offensively, yeah, we took a big jump. Defensively, we took a deep dive in the wrong direction. But pitching-wise, we could take a big jump. The one area that I keep looking at is we don't have the veterans to take the ball and take the brunts of the games that you have to take, right? So you got Ashcraft. He's had one healthy season in his pro career. That was last year. Bubba Chandler's never pitched a big league season, and he's never thrown over 130 innings. You have Barco, who's never thrown over 110 innings. And you keep going down. Majinski's never thrown over 100 innings. So you got guys that have never even pitched into September that we're going to need. And that's the one missing element. And then also the roster and the lineup construction that I want to dive into. We talked to Brault about it last week. And I think it's really important because I think that's how you form an identity. Through guys like AJ, and guys pouring in of what's it take to win. And for me, it takes grit. And it takes show up every day of like, what is it going to take today with the communication with the guys? Where do you stand? Hey, you're not here now. We need you in AAA. You're going to be the first guy called up. Dude, you have that on your back. And you're like, yeah, first guy called up. You have Superman on your chest down in AAA. Imperative to like, dude, I had the best spring of my life. And you go down, you're like, what did I do wrong? And nobody said anything.
That's right.
So all the little intangibles for me with AJ all the way through the hirings, the coaching staff, or the big separator me. Yes, these guys got to go out and play. But what are they hearing every day? How's the morale? How's the culture? Are they playing wiffle ball in the clubhouse during rain delays, right? Are they slam dunking on each other in the video room and playing horse, right? Are they in the circle doing wrestling matches like me and Daniel McCutcheon used to do because you're not allowed in the circle, right? That's how you build the team.
Hey, Brandon Inge playing hockey.
Yeah, and checking me up against. Also, one of my favorite moments, he threw me BP with that hockey stick, and I got a hit. And then they let him go, and I don't know if I ever got a hit again. Pinch hitting.
Let's go. Let's go.
It was a tough moment. But, like, talk about that. Talk about how important all that is with identity across the board, having baseball minds around you, but really trying to, balance this whole, like, thing together because it is fragile. The depth, yes, we have great prospect depth. But, like, to get them to buy on board that, hey, like, this isn't just the big leagues. We're trying to win. And you came up about that time when we were trying to win, Jay Hay, me, we were running in as rookies and we were in a winning atmosphere immediately. It's not that you can't do it. It's like, but that idea of who you are, that identity of what you want to be and what you're trying to be, and having a standard that's so high from top to bottom only comes from those veteran guys. That's why I love the fact that O'Hearn's talking about 2023 Orioles because he was there for so long.
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it really. I mean, that's what I just remember, going out there as a young player and understanding, hey, we're really good. I got to bring my A game today. Now, whether I did or didn't, but I knew that my mindset was I got, AJ on the mound, I got Frankie on the mound, I got G on the mound, I got whoever on the mound at that particular time, that we are trying to win this game and we're going to win this game because that's the culture, that's the mindset that we have. And I just remember going out and being like, hey, I got to lock in. Like this is it. Like we have the mindset of we're going to win today and move on, but we're winning today. And I think that's the mindset now is, this as well as anybody. If you don't know how to win, right, how do you win? And so the boys have to understand like how to win these games. Or like you mentioned, the pitcher taking the ball, whoever it is, we're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. Hey, I'm stopping it today. Like I'm stopping the bleeding today, and I'm gonna get us back on track. Like that's the veteran leadership that I hope these guys take the next step, and that AJ's instilling. That some of these guys, like Ryan O'Hearn's been around these playoff teams. Brandon Lau is the same. Another example. Those guys have been around playoff teams, very, very good baseball teams that. When you go on these, you're going to have these streaks that you're not playing well baseball, but somebody's got to step up and stop the bleeding. Somebody's got to step up and be, all right, we've had enough, boys. It's time to move on, right? And so having those veteran guys in the clubhouse, and then when things are going great, man, you were having that camaraderie. Just like you mentioned, I mean, we were having wiffle ball tournaments, we were playing hockey, we were doing basketball, we were doing, all kinds of stuff during rain delays that people didn't know about. But that's who we were because we know how confident we were. We knew how talented we were. We knew the camaraderie we had. We knew everybody was. I use this, a lot. Is you got a tug of war rope. If everybody's on the same end, it's a lot easier, to pull together. But if you got half the team on one end, half the team on the other, that rope ain't going nowhere. It's just going to stay still the whole time, and you're just going to be stagnant. And so those teams I remember we were all on the same end of the rope. We were pulling for each other nonstop, and we also had fun about it too because the standard was there. We knew that when it's time to go, when it's time to play, you lace them up, you lock in, and if you did your job, the team's going to be successful. And I'm just excited to see what's going to happen because the future is extremely bright. We know that. We know that we got good players. It's a matter of, do they know how to win, and especially when you're in the midst of a bad streak, can you change it and flip the switch and get back on where you need to be?
No one destroys a baseball like Oneil Cruz.
That is the hardest hit ball in known Major League history.
Pitchers should consider themselves warned.
And it is gone! There's a Cruz missile!
Log in with your cable provider and stream the Pirates all season long on SNP 360.
With this team, the big jump, obviously, we could talk about pitching, but we jumped up when it comes to what we could do offensively. I love the fact that they got two, offensive left-handers for our ballpark. Yep. Ozuna, I'm excited to see if that hip is feeling better. The numbers were weird, but he's an on-base machine. But he has a dud on the base pass, which is okay because he hits homers. My mom and dad always told me if you hit it far enough, you don't have to worry about running. So
Nope.
How does that change? Because this is something that the Pirates have never done. We went out and it's not the best player available.
Right.
Think about that. We went after Schwarber. We went out after even the Valdez thing, which I thought was nuts. Right.
Right.
Whether they were in or not, the PR game was on fire.
Yep.
Right. These guys said, hey, we're going after it. We're going all in. 101 million right now is where we're at. I think we could get to 110 from my understanding, even 115. So they have more room to maybe get a pitcher. But how can you not be excited? But what is this team's identity, Jordy? It can't be bang because we're not the Braves, we're not the Dodgers, right? Is it still that pitching, defense, and we'll hit enough?
That's what I think it is. I mean, I think you lean on your pitching staff, 100%. And we all saw last year they couldn't score any runs. We knew that. They couldn't hit. They couldn't. The pitching staff kept them in games, but they couldn't get over the hump to win the game. And now you go add some of these veteran hitters that certain situations late in the game, late in the game, certain situations you need a veteran clutch hit. And that's why you go get these guys, in my opinion. That's why you go get the guys that have been there, that have done it, that have a ton of success in the big leagues. Ryan O'Hearn has resurrected his career. I mean, he is now an upper echelon type hitter, and he really never was that early on in his career. And the last couple of years, my goodness, he's just made a huge jump. And just the other day, I mean, he hit a homer, right? An opposite field homer off a lefty, which was awesome to see.
Against his former team, which was awesome.
That's right. That's right. So, and you talked about Ozuna. Ozuna's been doing this for a long time. He's been hitting homers and mashing homers for a long time. So adding a guy like that, but I've said this from day one, and I'm going to continue to say it. I think Brandon Lau is the X factor, is the guy for me, the guy that we brought in. That's the guy for me. And here's the reason why is it's hard to find production in the middle of the lineup or the middle of the field. That's an everyday player, especially at second base. And now you got a 30 homer guy at second base that's got the Clemente wall in right field. That's going to get half his games are going to be there in Pittsburgh. It's really exciting to think that you're going to have a guy that's going to hit 30 plus that you can plug him in to play second base. And then now you can bounce back with maybe a young top prospect of all of baseball that could be a slam dunk, whatever, shortstop. And so now you got a combination in the middle infield that's going to be pretty salty there for a long time. And so I don't know. You never know how this thing's going to play out, but I love adding the veteran guys. I love adding every clubhouse needs one. Every lineup needs one. And they're going to rely on the pitching staff a lot. But now you got guys that can come in and get that big hit when you need to. And I think that's going to be huge this year.
And with the lineup, Jordy, like last year, you can look back and you can look at Andrew McCutcheon's numbers and Reynolds' numbers, especially. Who hit behind him and who hit in front of him was a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
Horowitz had a huge year. Who hit behind Horowitz almost all year towards the end? Brian Reynolds, right? Brian Reynolds' numbers were down. Who hit behind Brian Reynolds? Nick Gonzalez a lot, right?
Yep.
So they went after Nick Gonzalez. They didn't after Reynolds. Same thing when Kutch was hitting fifth. Who was hitting behind Kutch, right? Whoever was hitting sixth that day.
Yep.
So, like, it changed the numbers. If you look at how they were pitched pretty much kind of in and out of the zone. And when they were in situations where they could do damage, they wanted to. Same thing with O'Neill Cruz. When he had Kutch behind him, I think Ozuna will probably hit behind Cruz this year some. He's going to do bigger damage because the guy behind him is going to take pitches and get guys in the zone. And he can do a lot of damage. So I think the link that created with our lineup, right?
100%.
And now you could think about putting a Triolo, which I think he'll be the starting third baseman, in a lower slot, and he becomes more of a damage threat because he's going to get pitched different.
That's right.
And then you
exactly
equate, putting guys where you want to make sure you don't stop Cruz. So if you put Ozuna before him, you're going to stop his running game, right?
Yep.
If you put him behind him, he's going to run like crazy. Maybe Ozuna gets better pitches. Just talk about, you coached with Oklahoma State. I heard they're playing well, by the way. The fact is that's going to matter. And us having the depth that we do, and there's presence in our lineup and there's pedigree in our lineup, is something that happened only when we went to the playoffs in 2013, really, right? Because we got Morneau, who I don't think people talk enough about because he didn't have a great tenure as a Pirate, but the dude had great at-bats every single day. And everybody around him hit better. So just having these guys in, I think is going to change what all these dudes that maybe had tough years last year can actually do, because you're not going to be shifting the lineup as much. You're going to have more consistency, and these guys are going to be staples in this lineup.
I think also you can mix and match too. Like I think that's what makes when you lengthen your lineup out.
As they're comfortable with that,
Yeah. So when you lengthen your lineup out, you can mix and match. If a guy's plumbing lefties or plumbing righties, you can just sprinkle in those guys every now and then. You're gonna have your same guys in the middle in the heart, right? But you brought up a great point is the guys like Tree and guys like some of those guys that you can push them back down, be able to get more heaters, be able to get pitched to better because the lineup is way lengthened now. And now you got guys maybe on base more. You got guys behind him that a lineup flips over where they don't want to be in the 6th, 7th inning, and then they got to face a middle of the road relief pitcher that they can light up. I mean, there's just so many different factors that you can mix and match and do. Like Donnie Kelly's going to have an unbelievable job this year. He's going to have so much fun putting this lineup together and understand. Yeah, I mean, why not? It's so cool to be able. Like, is Brian Reynolds going to go back to form the way he was? I think he is, because he's going to have people around him that they got to pitch to him, right? They got to understand, like, okay, well, we can't just pitch around Brian Reynolds anymore because, well, you got the Big Bear behind him, or you got Ryan O'Hearn that's crushed righties behind him. Like, there's just so many things, so many factors that you mentioned that lengthened lineups are huge. Is because it's every at bat is a tough at bat, and so you can't take the pressure off the pitcher because he's got to execute quality pitches, every pitch, basically every batter. And if he does make a mistake, you're going to make him pay. And that's what I think, adding these veteran guys and then pushing the other guys a little bit down, taking a little bit pressure off them, not relying so much on can they get the critical hit or provide for the offense for the team that day. They don't have to. They can just be themselves and go out and relax and play and understand it.
Jordy, my mom and most moms will say they don't have a favorite, but I have a favorite on our team. And he's an X factor for me this year. You brought up X factor, Endy Rodríguez.
This is right up your alley.
2022.
Right up your alley.
Yeah. 2022, bro. This guy was Buster Posey, but playing multiple positions through minor leagues. He went from low A all the way up. 2023, they decide he's just going to catch. What'd this kid do, right? Look at those 22 numbers. 25 Jimmy Jacks, bro. That's him playing.
By the
first,
way, that's
second.
Yes. some of these places to hit in too.
Outfield.
You've been there, Altoona. That's a tough place to hit homers, man. It is.
Right.
So
Right.
some of these places
Right.
are tough. Indy's huge in left field.
My thing is, we have Joey Bart, that's going to be the backup. We have Henry Davis that's finally going to get his chance. I think the catching for me, because Indy's maybe the best receiver consistently. I think Henry's going to take a huge jump, but we were negative receiving. Henry was one of the best throwers on the planet. They blocked okay. Henry was right at average. Bart was below average, but Bart banged in 24. Is that going to come back to form, or is he part of the trade? I think Indy's the X factor for all that, because I saw it years ago that the tandem, because of the care factor, the enthusiasm from Indy, the structure, and the love of the game, the like almost creepy love for the numbers and everything on Henry's side. This guy as one, these two guys as one is special, because Skeens loves throwing to Indy. He loves throwing to Henry. Well, I'm not hearing the same thing with Bart. That's no knock to Bart. Everybody has a favorite, but I'm never hearing, like, when you hear Henry's name, you can always hear Indy's name. And that dates back way before we even got Joey Bart. I think Bart brings us a lot of value in the offensive side. I think he's going to take a step forward, hopefully, on the defensive side, but he's also a great piece to trade and get us another bullpen arm, some more depth, whatever. And it also opens up a little bit of money. So I open that thought to you, because I think Indy got hurt because he went all in on catching. He spent so much time working on it. The arm hurt, had the nerve issue. I think if this kid's healthy, and I feel like he feels like he has nothing to lose now, he could go out and do some special things, because he's never had a fair shake. Just like Henry, he's never had a fair shake. I mean, this kid started first base in Miami last year and didn't play a game, not one, not zero, not 0 games at first base. But he's not a good defender at first base. No, he was a good defender every year in the minor leagues, everywhere he played. So now, with that being said, talk about lengthening that lineup. Switch hitter, power both sides. He had a 41-degree homer the other day. It was a 30.030 expected batting
average. Off a hook,
too. That's what off a hook. That's what this kid can do. He's a different breed of athlete and talent that I think we've forgotten about. And if him and Henry can be a hint of what they're capable of, our team is completely different. You could throw out everything else. We come completely different, but the pressure's off of them.
Well, my thing is not only Indy, he can catch. The dude's just a pure athlete, and that's what I love about Indy is, he's a switch hitting catcher, so say, but you can plug him and play. Really, if you need him in the lineup, or if he's swinging the bat really well, the dude's an athlete. The dude can play. He can play multiple positions if he needs to be, and I think that's a little bit of an extra X factor, like you said, that he can bring to the table that I don't think a lot of the other catchers can. And so, my question to you, Mike, is you understand this position more than anybody, right? You've been around. You've caught a ton of guys. Is when those guys, how do those guys create that relationship? Because Indy's missed a lot of time. Okay, he has. How does he go into spring training right now, creating those relationships with those guys? He knows them. He's caught them before, but he hadn't caught them enough. So how do you go in and create relationships with those guys that have been around and knowing that you're going to end up catching 3 of the 5, 2 of the 5 maybe on a weekly basis if you get up there and play every day, 4 of the 5 maybe. How do you create that relationship in spring training going forward, moving forward to understand what those guys believe in, what they want, certain situations, what do they like to do? Like, tell me a little bit about how that goes, especially being the general behind the plate.
So being a guy got hurt, he used it wisely. So while he was hurt, he was in Pittsburgh most of the time.
Yep.
Spending the time right next to Oviedo, right next to Skeens, and whether joking around, having fun, he was always learning. And that's something I've seen him and Henry do consistently and talk about the game. So he's constantly moving in that direction of getting trust. But then it's really about getting back there, right? Showing up for the bullpens, catching extra. And if you're not catching, being there, watching. This guy's been doing that. So he's got that factor, but he's got something that a lot of people don't have. It's something that I tried to take a lot of pride in, is how do I get my enthusiasm and also my body language and my mood to rub off the right way on the given day I need to.
That's a great point.
If I need to piss off AJ,
Catchers are huge
how do I
about that.
do that?
Yeah.
right?
That's huge.
So
Yep, 100%.
he has some knack that you're going to see a guy throwing bad. He's going to go insane.
Yep.
You're like, what's wrong with him? But then
Yep.
all of a sudden the kid gets in the zone. And it's because that enthusiasm rubs off. But the power of belief when you're on the mound by yourself on that island, when I believe in you so wholeheartedly that I'll take bullets for you, that's how this kid is. It's going to get him through games that most guys wouldn't get through because you're looking at the scouting reports. Like, that doesn't matter.
I love that.
You're looking at the lineup. That doesn't matter today. This kid's grandma just died before the game. How do I get him through today? And you lock him in the way you know him. And that's how he knows these guys, whether it's how they pitch, all that information is kind of secondary for me. I always think about the personality, then the philosophy of the game.
Okay.
And I think he has a knack for that. And he brings out the best in people. And he's the guy for me that, we saw Jay be. We saw Palacios be. He's a fire starter because when he succeeds, everybody's fired up. I felt like we had a lot of those guys on our team, but like, you have to have one.
Yeah,
a guy that wants the big moment, a guy that wants the opportunity. And if he doesn't get it, he's just going to wait. But while he's waiting, you're getting better if you're around him because he's making you feel like you could literally jump off the moon and land on your feet on earth. Right. So I think that's his special thing. And the fact that him and Henry are so different, I don't think you can have a better combo because I'm a big believer, even in coaching staffs, like, don't get the same guy to be the head guy and the assistant. Get two different human beings so they can, one, butt heads, but also grow together. Because if you get a mixture of those two, it's going to be great, right? Like, you and Clint Barmas, completely different people, but how much should you guys help each other?
No, 100%. Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a great question.
Well, when he's regaining that form, is he doing extra bullpen catching right now? What is he doing right now in spring training, specifically in spring training, just to get back in the flow? And I know he's been around it, but we all know this, the guys that have played, it's a different. Like, you can sit there and watch and you can sit there and do all your cage work, but the games are different. The mindset's different. The understanding's different. So how is he getting those game reps that he, missed a ton of time with right now in spring training as a catcher?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Jordy, and you know this, you can't chase something you're not ready to be.
Sure.
And I think for a long time, he was trying to get back and be the guy. Because like he knew if he did X, Y, and Z, he was the guy. I think this year he's going in with, I don't care. I just want to play. I want to be healthy. So I think he's got a more of a balanced approach when it comes to how he's going about it. And he's probably, because of that, in my mind, going to be free. The tension's going to go away. And if he has no tension, I mean, this guy hits the ball on average when it comes to exit velocity as good as anybody on our team. Now, can he square it up?
We've seen the statistics. Yeah, we've seen he can hit.
Right?
There's no doubt he can hit.
I think the injuries he's really utilized to learn himself. I think he spent a lot of time with Oviedo when they were on the DL together. Oviedo, I talked to a lot about using the time to refine your craft or refine your approach to different guys. What are you going to do in situations? And every time he hit a wall, he would jump back and be even better. And I think that rubbed off on Endy. And I think that's what's going to be important, Jordy, because you can't chase something that they're not willing to give you. All you can chase is the day. And I think that's what he's doing, man. I think the fact that they did a great job in getting him in the very first game was brilliant. I think those things matter because it made me feel, one, I still matter because what happens most of the time first game at LECOM.
We still believe in
starting
him.
guy.
100%. Yeah.
Right? That was huge. But he's had a huge, huge impact already. All of his drill work I've been watching, it looks awesome. He's moving good. His feet are absolutely on fire. His arms clean. And it's like, give him the bonus, dude. Most improved player. And he's healthy. So I think, once again, communication and those little things matter because when in doubt, whether he makes the team or not, he's going to be needed.
Yes.
Period.
Totally agree.
And if he is who he is, he'll be one of our best players.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting to see a healthy Endy, to see what type of player he is that a lot of people probably haven't seen before, to be honest with you. They've seen minor league stints of him, right? But not the full capacity, full package, I should say, that Endy has of being just a pure athlete behind the plate.
I love it. Okay, real quick. I'm going to fire a couple questions at you. I want to see what you think. Okay, Buccos, do we win the NL Central? Yes or no?
Oh man, I would like to say yes, but the Cubs have just reloaded so much, and they got some really, really good players over there. You never know how that's going to turn out because the pitching staff, to me, like I told you, pitching staff's going to win, but man, it's going to be tough. But are we going to be in? Are we going to be in there till the end? I do believe we are. I really do. What
Do
about
we
you?
have our first depth of pitching is the only question I have. I think our pitching can outweigh the Cubs if we find. I think we have a trade in the near future to maybe get. I would love them to get weird and go Sandy Alomar.
Yeah.
Or Contra, or whatever his name is. I would say Sandy Alomar. Think about catching.
I know what you mean.
But that's what I was seeing
from the Marlins.
All right.
Yep.
My next question. I got 3 more for you. Homers. Do we have a 30 home run hitter for the first time since 2018?
I think I already told you that. That's the second baseman for me every day. He's going to be there, no doubt. Brandon Lau's doing it. I just think you put him in a situation where – what's that?
Do we have 2? That'd be the first time since 13.
Man, we could. There's a potential. I mean, I don't. I think O'Neal Cruz could definitely bounce back. Here's the thing. There's so many factors. There's so many factors that we can talk about, right? But I think Brandon Lau having that veteran presence in the lineup is going to take pressure off some of these guys that had the pressure last year. I think O'Neal felt that. I really do, because we were leaning on him a lot to maybe hit a long ball to win the game, right? To score a run, to do a bunch of different things. And now you're going to have these guys that have been there, done it. It's going to take a lot of pressure off. And they're going to, like you mentioned earlier, playing freely is huge in this game and not thinking. And I think he's got a chance to be that too. But you got Clemente Wall for these left-handed hitters on the right, on right down right field line. I think that's going to come in huge for Brandon Lau.
NL Rookie of the Year, is he on our team?
Oh, baby. He is on our team.
A couple guys that could be out for it. Oh, yeah. I agree.
He is on our team.
I agree. Yeah, it's just, is it going to be or is it going to be that Griffin, right? I agree. He's on our team.
What if it's just a 1-2 punch? I love that, huh?
Yeah, like the A's last year, right? With Jacob Wilson and Big Amish.
They had the top 2 guys.
Jacob second voting. He's like, what?
Right.
What just happened?
That's
All right. Last, I'll end it here because we're running into that hour mark. I could talk to you all day. 5th starter. This is something that I didn't bring up today. Who's our 5th starter? And I think I'm going to shock you with who I pick.
Man, oh boy. Is a trade involved before?
No. As of now.
Okay.
Do you want me to give you a hint on mine? Because you're going to want to pick the guy picking.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead. You go first. I went
He's
first
not being talked about.
First. Okay, go.
He's not being talked about, but he has the most big league innings on our team.
Okay, shoot.
He has the most success on our team outside of Skeens, and we have the same name. That's how much he's not being talked about.
It's amazing, huh?
Mike Clevenger is going to be our 5th starter.
Yeah.
That he's throwing 94, 95 in bullpens, bro, in live BPs. Yep.
I saw his.
Looks good.
I basically saw his scouting video when he came back and threw bullpens for teams, and man, he looked good. He really looked good. So
yeah, I think he's going to be the surprise. I could also see him being a swing guy, but I think pushing the kid from the Astros that we signed out into the bullpen and being a long reliever changes our team. Yeah. So I got Majeski or Clevenger.
Yeah.
Fighting.
I mean, I was leaning towards Majeski. That's just because
I love him as a swing guy, though. We do. We love him as a swing guy.
And I think I think Majeski could be a tremendous bullpen piece too. So we've talked about this plenty of times, last year during the season that, Majeski, you can push him towards the end of the bullpen and he would be really, really good. And so it just depends on how I think a lot of it too is going to depend on how much they rely people on the bullpen, especially the back end too as well. So, 6, 7, 8 range. how they're going to piece that together is probably how they're going to piece the fifth starter too as well.
I like it. Yeah, we're going to need those innings in the bullpen. Jordy, you're a legend. I love you. I can't wait to work with you some this year. You're not here enough. I miss you already. Thanks for coming on.
I can't wait to be back. I'm excited.
Love it, bro. Yeah, we got to play catch.
Absolutely.
I'm
always
on the
do.
men from a knee. Yeah, we will.
Always.
For sure. All right. Well, hey, thank you to Jordy. Thank you, Belsky. You're a legend. That's the guy behind the scenes that makes all this work. This is Bucs Bounty. Please like, subscribe, and go follow us. This is fun every week. It's just going to get better. We're going to start doing some player breakdowns and what they've been working on in the offseason and so on and so forth. Do not miss the next one. Thank you and good night.